Right, okay, so until I get a tip from my drawing pen thing that I have, I'm back to doing stuff like this. So anyways, today I'm going to talk about handedness. So most people are either left-handed or right-handed. A lot of people are ambidextrous. I consider myself one of those people. Most people who are ambidextrous, they can kind of use both their hands equally, or they're close to equal. Most people have like one set dominant hand, but most people can use their other hand at least a little bit. But I do know plenty of people who can't use their other hand at all, like they just consider it useless. I am not either of those people. I am ambidextrous, but my right arm is a lot better for stuff with my arm, and my left arm is a lot better with stuff with my hand. I think this is because I was born right-handed, or at least I grew up treating my right arm to be right-handed, but my mom taught me how to write, and she was left-handed, so I copied her. And so since I learned how to write with my left hand, my hand muscles grew to be a lot more like precise on my left hand, whereas on my right arm I learned how to do a bunch of stuff with my right arm. So usually with like writing and holding a fork, I did my left hand, and pretty much everything else I did with my right hand because it involved more arm. And this became quite a problem whenever I was little because adults are mean. If you don't give them a direct answer, they are not up for it. It's so surprising how over it all adults are with kids all the time. So they would always ask kids, what handed are you? And if they can't answer immediately, like, what hand do you write with? And whenever I played sports, they were not having it because I knew why they were asking, because I wanted to know which hand they should put the bat or the tennis racket or whatever it is in. And I'm like, well, I write with my left hand, but it's not that simple. And they didn't get it. They always interrupted me. They were always short with me. Adults are actually very mean people to children. It's ridiculous. Like, we need to have a hashtag save the kids movement, but I don't think that's going to happen because all kids grow up to be adults that treat kids badly, and it's so weird. So yeah, I played a lot of sports when I was a kid because I suck at sports, and I think my parents really wanted me to be good at sports. So every time I sucked at a sport, they put me into a new sport. So I did cheerleading when I was really, really little. It was just kind of something fun. And I also did t-ball, and that was whenever I was really, really little. And whenever I grew up, they put me in basketball, and they also put me in softball. And I played those for quite a while, but the problem was I was still pretty young. And softball I was pretty good at. Well, actually, no. I was pretty good at in comparison to how I did with the rest of the sports, but I was still really bad. And they would always put me in outfield, except one year where I think they put me on third base, I think. But all the other years I was in outfield, and whenever you're little, there's not any action in outfield because you're very young and they can't hit that far. And so I would just wind up drawing in the sand the whole game. And in basketball, I was really, really scared of loud noises, right? So me being scared of loud noises, I would keep looking back at the buzzer, and if it was anywhere near like 2 minutes from buzzing, I would just hold my hands over my ears the whole time, just running back and forth. And then after that, I believe was tennis. Yeah, she tried to put me in tennis, and that's when handedness came in, right? But we'll get back to that afterwards because I want to go through the rest of my sports. So I played tennis for like one season, and that's it. And then we tried karate, and I made it to, I think, an orange belt, and then they changed times, and I didn't want to have to go to karate immediately after school because I wanted to go home and eat, so I was a little brat about it, so I didn't go. But I was okay at karate. I don't know if you would count that as a sport. It's a martial art, but I don't know. I just included it because I don't know. And then I did volleyball for a while. Volleyball was pretty cool. I think volleyball was the one that I was best at, but, personal opinion. I didn't make it onto the high school team, but I still think out of all of them, volleyball was the one that I was best at. Also, I don't personally count it as a sport, but I know a lot of people that are like passionate about it being a sport is marching band, and I'll make probably a separate video for that, but I don't count it as its own separate sport because does it involve exercise? Yes. Is it hard? Yes. Is it a sport? No. Just because it involves being outside, being active, and hard does not make it a sport. That's not how it works. Chess is a sport, and it doesn't involve exercising and stuff. So back to tennis. Like most adults who talk to me that age, whenever they asked me what hand I was, they were pretty short with me. They were just like, what handed are you? And whenever I start to stumble, they're just like, okay, so what hand do you write with? And I was like, left, but it's not that complicated. And usually, even though they're pretty impatient, I usually get the message across, either that or after they give it to me, I get the chance to explain it to them because they listen at least a little bit, but this guy did not. And I tried to explain to him that like I wrote with my left hand, but like my right hand would be better, and he was not having it, so I had to try to learn it with my left hand, and I was just really, really bad. And he was very short, and I did not get a chance to explain to him, hey, can I try it with my right hand? He was like, no, you write with your left hand. That's how it works, dum-dum. So actually, my mom had to go up to him, and she was like, why don't you put it in her right hand? And he was like, well, she said she's left-handed. And then my mom was like, no, she'd do better with her right hand. She writes with her left hand. And according to my mom, I wasn't there. I was on the playing field, and they were off to the side. According to my mom, they even had like a little mini argument, and then he finally put it into my right hand, and I did a lot better. Those were the sports that I was okay at. I was okay at volleyball. I was okay at softball. And I was like 8, I think, when I played tennis, so I don't remember. But according to my mom, I was good. And after he put it into my right hand, I started hitting every ball and hitting it well. But the one thing I do remember is the ball was so small. I wasn't afraid of the ball in softball because it was bigger, and I don't know, I guess I had better tracking of it. But the ball was so small in tennis, I did not like that ball going super fast towards me, so I was too afraid of the ball to keep going. So yeah, that's a story about handedness, and also kind of a mix of all the sports I played. Yeah.